Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 7th of November 2023. In today's newspaper analysis, we are going to cover an important mapping topic, and then we are going to look into those articles that are important from the Hindu newspaper today. So let us start the discussion with first seeing the list of topics that we are going to cover. So these are the list of articles that we have included for discussion today. The name of the articles along with their relevance according to the syllabus is mentioned, and also the page number is mentioned here. So let us start with the first topic, which is a mapping topic. Name of the topic is Indian Ocean region. Okay. So this Indian Ocean region has been in news for many purposes, especially related to geopolitics. So what is Indian Ocean region? It is important for us to understand. So we know this is Indian Ocean, the blue colored region that is shown over here. This is Indian Ocean. So Indian Ocean is just, let's say, to the south of India, right? So this Indian Ocean is a vast territory. It's a vast territory of sea, right? It has a vast territory of sea. And Indian Ocean region includes more than 30 countries, right? So this region also plays a vital important role for these countries that share maritime border with this Indian Ocean region, right? Why? Because through Indian Ocean, let's say, lot of ships pass, right? Lot of ships pass through. So there is an interest of all the countries in the Indian Ocean region. Why? Because they want free navigation. What they want free navigation of their ships through the Indian Ocean region. So this is an important factor. Apart from this, they talk about rules-based, right? Rules-based international order. Rules-based international order in the Indian Ocean region. Okay, rules-based international order in the Indian Ocean region. Apart from this, the Indian Ocean region is a very important and vital place because we want to maintain the ecological sanctity of the entire region. We don't want that the ecological sanctity or the environment, the marine environment in the Indian Ocean region should get exploited. We don't want that. Okay, so that's why Indian Ocean region has been in news, and today there is an article that talks about the Indian Ocean region. So it plays a vital role in the geopolitics and also related to trade. I have included another diagram for you. In this, let's say, map, what you can identify is you can identify some of the physical features in Indian Ocean region. For example, there are many islands, right? If we talk about Amsterdam Island, St. Paul Island, right? Christmas Island, Cocos Island, right? And Sumatra, and Nicobar Islands. So Andaman group of islands, Lakshadweep, Maldives. So you can identify all these important places in the Indian Ocean region. They will help you to, let's say, solve questions in the prelims exam. Okay, so there are many straits also that are also mentioned here. For example, Bass Strait. So that let's say, just below Australia. So there is Tasmania below Australia. So this is Bass Strait. Then we have Madagascar. Okay, Madagascar is this island country, the island regions over here. Then Chagos Archipelago. This remains in news. Seychelles remains in news because the Prime Minister of India has visited Seychelles also. Right. Then Reunion Island remains in news. Okay, it is just above the Tropic of Capricorn. So this Tropic of Capricorn is 23.5 degree. Okay, 23.5 degree. To the south, okay, 23.5 degree to the south. So this is equator, 0 degree. This is Tropic of Capricorn, okay, and here Tropic of Cancer. So this is 23.5 degree south, and this will be 23.5 degree north. So this is the thing. In your free time, go through this. There are around 30 countries, right? And Indian Ocean region plays a very important role. Many countries are involved in the geopolitics of Indian Ocean region. So with this, let us start the discussion of the first topic today. This topic says governors delaying crucial bills a matter of concern, says the Supreme Court of India. So the thing is, there are many states in India that are non-BJP ruled state. So in these states, generally the governors that are appointed, they are appointed by the central government. So they are appointed by the ruling party of the center, right? So they appoint their governors in all the states. So the thing is, including those states also where, let's say, a party rules, that is that is not a party which is at the center. So generally what happens, the chief minister or the, let's say, cabinet of the state, if they pass some bill through their state legislative assembly and wherever possible state legislative councils as well. So after passing the bill, they send it to the governor for the assent of the governor. Means the governor has to sign it to make this bill a law, to make this bill an act. But in many cases, it has been noticed that the governors delay that particular bill indefinitely. Means like they do not accept, they do not reject. Sometimes they send that particular bill directly to the president. I mean, like, the state governments face it really difficult to get the bills passed. So recently, many of the state governments, that includes the Punjab, it includes Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Telangana. Okay, so these states has approached courts. Okay, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Telangana, they have approached the court to seek redressal related to this aspect. So recently, the Supreme Court of India, the Chief Justice of India in the Supreme Court has said that, like, the governor should not, let's say, like, behave in this manner, right? So they should sort out the issue with the chief minister, right? So whatever problem is there in the bill, so they should discuss with the chief minister of the state and get it resolved at the government level itself. They should not be approaching to the court. And the governor should also do a soul searching. Okay, governor should do a soul searching, means governor should introspect, right? It should introspect why it is not passing the bill. So this is what this comment is made by the Chief Justice of India. So this is, although this topic is highly political in nature, because, like, here the political parties that are non-BJP ruled parties, they have approached the court, right? So Supreme Court of India has made an observation related to the oblivious nature of the governors in passing the bills that are introduced by the state governments in non-BJP ruled states. So this is a good topic, I would say. So apart from this, let us now talk about another topic. This topic is important. It says a telco's double dip. Okay, so this says a telco's double dip attempt that threatens net neutrality. So we are going to understand about this topic in detail, right? So name of the topic is a telco's double dip attempt, okay, that threatens net neutrality. That threatens net neutrality. This topic is really important. In this article, we will discuss about the concept of net neutrality. So what has happened in this article, they have mentioned about an organization which is known as Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. So this Telecom Regulatory Authority of India regulates the telecom sector. And this authority has, let's say, like, started a comprehensive consultation on the need of the possible mechanism for regulation of OTT platforms. Okay, so the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India has come up with a kind of, come up with measures to regulate the OTT platforms. Why OTT platforms need to be regulated? Because the thing is, like, there are internet service providers. These are known as ISPs. Okay, ISPs means internet service providers. So these internet service providers have approached, right? They have approached the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India seeking guidelines so that the OTT platforms make payment to the internet service providers. Now let us understand the concept of internet service providers. For example, all of us has heard about Jio, we have heard about Airtel, right? We have heard about other, let's say, internet service providers. So these are the platforms, these are the players through which, let's say, like, consumers purchase SIM, they access data, and using that data, they access anything from the internet, right? So they access even OTT platforms. So what are OTT platforms? To understand the OTT platform, we just need to know the names of those OTT platforms. That will be clear. For example, all of us may have heard about Amazon Prime, right? Amazon Prime is a kind of OTT platform. Then Netflix is a OTT platform. Then if we talk about Hotstar, right, it's a OTT platform. Then there is Disney Plus, I think, right, Disney Plus. So that's an OTT platform. So these are the OTT platforms. So what these OTT platforms do, they do have their, let's say, like, they have their own platforms, and in these platforms what they do, they have uploaded contents, right, they have uploaded contents. So these contents are, let's say, informative, they can be entertainment based, right, they can be entertainment based, they can be educational, they can be informative, etc., right? So there can be different types of contents over here, and these OTT platforms, what they do, they charge users, right, they charge users, and they applied subscription charges, okay, monthly subscription charges they apply on users. But the thing is, like, they themselves do not provide any internet to the consumers. They have their own platform, so they may be paying for the, let's say, like, hosting services, like, for the platform. So many of these platforms, for example, if we talk about Netflix, it has its own, it's a part of Amazon. So Amazon has Amazon Web Services, they have AWS, so they have their own servers, so they can get the videos streamed through their own platform. However, if we talk about the internet service provider, like these companies also have their own OTT platforms. For example, GeoTV, right? So they have their own OTT platforms. But these OTT platforms are saying that, like, because of the increased demand for internet, we have to create more infrastructure facilities, and we are creating more infrastructure facilities for the demands that they are generating, right? So that's why these companies, I mean, like, these companies are not paying anything to us. We are building the infrastructure, and they are just, like, freely playing on those infrastructure. So they want that, like, some fees must be paid by the OTT platforms to the internet service providers. However, in this article they have mentioned that this is a flawed concept. Why it is a flawed concept? Because the thing is, like, internet traffic should be taken, let's say, like, according to the concept of net neutrality. So internet thing should be, let's say, like, should be following the concept of net neutrality. And what is net neutrality? According to net neutrality, every website, every platform that is available on the internet, it should be freely accessible to the users without undue interference. For example, these internet service providers, like, if they want to just if they want to promote only their platform, so they will be restricting the access to these let's say, like, OTT platforms. So that will hamper the user experience. So net neutrality says no matter which website is there, all websites should be treated equally by the internet service providers. They should not act in a manner that, like, that harms the interest of the users at large. This is the thing. And the principle of net neutrality was, let's say, it has been there for a long time, but this principle has been let's say, like, there is a professor of the Columbia Law School, his name is Tim Wu, who coined the term net neutrality in 2003 paper titled Network Neutrality, Broadband Discrimination. Okay, so there is a person, his name is Tim Wu. So Tim Wu has written a paper, right? He has written a paper in 2003, and name of the research work was Internet Network Neutrality, Broadband Discrimination. Okay, it is known as Network Neutrality, broadband discrimination. So this is the paper that was written by Tim Wu. He is a professor of Columbia Law School, and this professor has, let's say, like, put forward the concept of net neutrality. So according to net neutrality, all the traffic in the internet should be treated, right, should be treated freely. Okay, so they should be treated at par with one another. So these internet service providers should not be taking, I mean, like, taking any discriminatory measure. Earlier also in 2016, right, in 2016, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India has taken a decision in favor of net neutrality. Okay, in favor of net neutrality. That's the thing. It has taken decision in favor of net neutrality. Now let us discuss about this particular concept of like what is the internet service provider, what are OTT platforms. So to understand that particular thing, let's understand about a toll plaza. What we are going to understand about a toll plaza. So the thing is, if we talk about toll plaza over here, let's say like, they have different lanes. One of the lane can be, let's say like, for small cars, other lane can be for trucks. One lane can be, let's say like, one of the lane can be for bicycles, right? Bicycles, or it can be for bikes, etc. So the thing is, this toll plaza, they charge, what they do, they charge fees from the people who are passing through this, maybe let's say like, through this bridge, right, through this toll. So they charge based on the type of the vehicle, whether it is car, whether it is truck, whether it is, let's say, tractor and all, or whether it is bikes and all. So they charge accordingly. But the thing is like, they do not charge according to the brand of the thing, of the car. Maybe let's say, for example, if we take the example of Maruti Suzuki. So this is a car which is in large number. So this is because like, they have created good product and like, consumers purchase this product and there are huge number of Maruti cars and all. But the thing is, if this toll plaza is told that like, you charge more from Maruti and you charge less from other competitor. So that will be a kind of discriminatory practice, right? So this practice should not be allowed. However, they can charge according to the type of vehicle, right? Type of vehicle, like, in case of toll plaza, because over a period of time, the roads that are constructed, the bridges that are constructed, they meet with fatigue, means like, there are the infrastructure gets deteriorated over a time period. So a company that has built the, let's say like, bridge or other infrastructure, so they generally recover the price of building, right? So they have a kind of public private partnership thing, okay? They have different forms of public private partnership. So similar concept should be applied over here, means like, the OTT platforms, because they are a different company, they should not be discriminated. So in this article, they have, let's say like, talked in favor of, what they have talked in favor of net neutrality. They have talked, we need to uphold the principle of net neutrality, which is essential to foster a conducive environment for innovation, competition and consumer welfare, especially in India. If we talk about these platforms, Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hotstar, Disney, so they do have their own platform. They keep on doing research and development. They invest a huge amount of money in making this platform better. And the thing is, these players are competing among themselves to make their platform better. But the thing is like, there can be competition among themselves, but not the competition between internet service providers and OTT platforms, because the internet service providers, what they are doing, they are already charging from the users, right, based on the data that the users are consuming, right? So this is the thing. So this article talks about that, and this is a very good topic, okay? So this is related to net neutrality. Having understood this, now let us move to another topic. It says the cult of operational superiority from Israel to India. This is also a very good topic. We are going to discuss about this topic now. The cult of operational superiority from Israel to India. From Israel to India. Now let's try to understand this article. This is a very, very good article. So in this article, what they have talked about, they have talked about the Israel-Hamas war. What? They have discussed about the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. Okay, Israel-Hamas war. Hamas is a kind of threat actor, right? So it is a terror group, I would say. It is a terror group. It's a kind of threat actor. So the thing is like, largely if we talk about Israel-Hamas war, it can be said to be Israel-Palestine war. Okay, Israel-Palestine war. So Israeli people have occupied Palestine long back, right, in 1948. There was a Balfour Declaration in 1917, and after that declaration, right, was made by the UK government, right, in 1948, Palestine, out of Palestine, Israel as a state was created, and soon after that, like, there had been series of warfare between Israel and Palestine. I mean, Palestine, they had lesser, what we say, ammunition and all. So Israel has captured more and more territory, and Israel has solely relied on their military superiority. What they have relied, they have solely relied on their military superiority. So the thing is, they have always kept an upper hand over Palestinian people. So Palestinian people have been displaced, and what they have done, they have, let's say, like, focused on military superiority, or they have focused on operational superiority. But the thing is, using force, what they have done, they have just suppressed the voice that were rising at a specific point of time. But the thing is, if we talk about political intent of the Palestinian people, so their political ideology or political intent, right, of having a separate state always remains, okay, that political intent always remains. So the solution that Israeli people are getting by conducting military, let's say, military operations or showing operational superiority. So these solutions are short-term solutions. So they are not resolving the problem. What they are doing, they are just, right, they are just, instead of resolving the problem, they are managing the issue. They are managing the problems, okay, they are managing the ongoing problem. They are managing the ongoing problem. So in this article, the author has talked about the Prime Minister of Israel. Prime Minister of Israel, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, right? So what Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu has done, the Prime Minister of Israel has only focused on hardliner activity. Means, like, he is from a far right political party, and he always, let's say, thinks of getting military solutions to the political problems, right? He always thinks military solutions to the political problems. But the thing is, like, this has never, showed a long-term solution. So the author is saying that long-term solution can be achieved only by diplomacy, only by talks and negotiations, so that the opposing party, the Palestinian people, right, so they should be made to sit on a table, and the long-lasting peace can be achieved only through a two-state solution, right? Only through a two-state solution. So what is a two-state solution? Two-state solution means the Palestine should have their own separate sovereign territory, and Israel should be having a separate own sovereign territory. And this is the only viable solution that we see at this point of time. I mean, Palestine and Israel should have their own territories. For example, if I draw the map of Israel and Palestine, right, at this point of time, let's say this is the map of Israel and Palestine. This area is Gaza Strip, right? This area is Gaza Strip. Over here, they have West Bank. This is West Bank. And the other regions are of Israel. So in Gaza Strip and in West Bank, there are Palestinian people who are residing. So the thing is, Palestinians should be given a independent sovereign territory, so they should have a separate state side by side Israel, so that they can exist peacefully. However, under the Prime Minister of Benjamin Netanyahu, they have never recognized Palestine to be a separate state. They have not talked to them. They have only, let's say, sought military solutions to the ongoing conflict. So that's why in this article the author says that, the cult of operational superiority that Israel follows, so this is just a short-term solution. This is just managing the conflict, not resolving the conflict for the long term to come. So this is the example. So taking this example, the author also talks about the India-Pakistan issue, right? India-Pakistan issue. So the issue between India and Pakistan is of a similar nature, in the sense, it's not of that thing. So here the author has said that there are problems between India and Pakistan, and India has also, maybe, it seems that India has imported some of the operational tactics, operational superiority tactics, and India has followed that thing. Like, we have conducted superior operation of Balakot air strike. We have done surgical strikes on Pakistan, on some of the territories, but these are short-term solutions. If you want to bring long-term solutions, we need to let's say tact this particular thing diplomatically. So diplomatic solution through negotiation, right, will be the right thing to in the long term. So this is what is said by the author in this article. So now author says managing a strategic threat through purely military means works only until the adversary finds a way in, as Tel Aviv has learned and the New Delhi must note. Okay, so the thing is, the adversary is always trying to find new way. The moment they find a new way, they will again attack. Okay, so the way that Hamas has done, right? So having understood this, now let us move to another topic. This topic is important. How the personal data, okay, so I will change over here later. How the personal data of 815 million Indians got breached. So this article is important. Here in this article, we will understand about the cyber security threats, the threats that are part of, let's say, that are related to cyber security. So this topic is related to cyber security. So I'm just writing about this thing, cyber security. To understand this topic, we need to understand what are different cyber threats, right? What are the different cyber threats? So recently, if we talk about the recent context, what has happened? Recently, let's say, the data from Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, has been breached. Okay, the data from ICMR has been breached, and there were data of 815 million, right, Indian people. 815 million Indians data has been breached, and this data has been made has been sold where? In dark web, right? It has been sold in the dark web. What is dark web? It is a kind of internet that is not normally accessible to normal people like us. Even law enforcement agencies cannot access this particular thing. So in dark web, all kind of illicit activities keep on happening. For example, let's say money laundering related activities, terror financing, right? Terror financing, and data breach, right? Data leaks. All these activities happen in dark web, and to access the dark web, there is a kind of, let's say, software which is known as the onion router, right? The onion router, TOR, right? So the onion router is a kind of search engine for the dark web. So in the dark web, it was recently notified by an agency that data of 815 million Indians have been breached, and these data include, right, what are it includes the Aadhaar numbers, right? It includes the Aadhaar numbers, right? Aadhaar numbers is given by unique identification, UIDAI, Unit Identification Authority of India. Then passports of citizens, right? Passports of citizens, etc. Right? So these are available in the dark web, right? These were sold in the dark web. That's the thing. So how these people got access to it? They have, let's say, time and again, they have attacked many government agencies' websites, right? Government agencies' data, and there have been malicious attacks, and these attacks has led to the breach of the data. What kind of data? These are known as PII, personally identifiable information. Okay, so these are known as personally identifiable data. Okay, PII. So what are personally identifiable information? We need to understand, right? These are known as personally identifiable information, right? So the data breach that has happened, it includes personally identifiable information. Personally identifiable information are all those information through which a person, let's say I have the access to it, I can identify another person, right? So it can be Aadhaar number, right? Using Aadhaar, I mean, like Aadhaar has all the biometric data of the person. His photograph is there, his name is there, his address is there, his biometric information is there, or maybe passport, right? So these are personally identifiable information. Or these personally identifiable information can also be those information which, when added with some other information, may help in identifying a person. So the personally identifiable information has been leaked in the dark web. So in this article they have discussed about it, and this has been let's say, like, you know, these data have been released by a threat actor, and name of the threat actor is PWN0001, right? What is the name of the threat actor? Threat actor name is PWN0001, and they have sold this data in the dark web. So in the dark web, and there are two types of web basically. One is surface web, the internet that we access, Google Chrome or any other browser that you access to, let's say, like, you know, access any website of any like, you know, any institution and all. That is surface web. Dark web is a kind of a deeper level of web that normally we as citizens do not access it, because this dark web is generally used by the threat actors. It is generally used by those people who are involved in hacking of websites. They are involved in hacking of, let's say, like, you know, critical personal identifiable data, and then they sell it illicitly, right, in the into those channels. So there was an American agency, American cyber security company. That company has recently, let's say, like, you know, released this particular information, and name of that company is Resecurity. Okay, name of the company is Resecurity. So it is a kind of cyber security agency, right? Cyber security agency. However, if we talk about India, right, in India, do we have any mechanism to stop it? Yes, there is an organization, it is known as CERT-IN, right? Computer Emergency Response Team India, right? So this CERT-IN actually works to identify whether there is any kind of let's say threat to the data that we have, threat to the cyber security or critical information infrastructure, right? So government of India does have many critical information infrastructure that includes, let's say, the Aadhaar agency's database, that includes the database of the passports, right? That includes the database that includes the health records of the patients, right? It includes many such information. So they are public, let's say, like, you know, information repositories. So the government of India continuously strive to safeguard them, and we do have computer emergency response team in India, and this computer emergency response team is, let's say, like, you know, now conducting an investigation to identify, like, you know, from where the data got leaked. Okay, so they are still in the process of doing the investigation and identifying the root cause of the leakage of data that has happened. So having understood this, now let us solve two questions. Okay, let us solve two questions. One of the question is for the mains exam. You need to write an answer to this. It says, what are the most common types of cyber threats and attacks that individuals and organizations face today, and how can they be prevented or mitigated, right? So write an answer, short answer to this question. Write an answer in about 150 words. After writing an answer, you can share your answer with us on this email ID, okay, Jahidul@lukmaanias.com. We are going to evaluate your answer. We are going to share the evaluated answer back to you. Then we have a question. This question says, with reference to cyber security, consider the following statements. The Indian Computer Emergency Response Team is the nodal agency to deal with cyber security threats. Then Cyber Surakshit Bharat initiative of MITI, with the mission to spread awareness about cyber, cyber crime. So how many of the above statements are correct? Very simple question, right? You need to write an answer to this question, right? Just first statement is right, second statement is right. Correct answer is option C. Go through this question. You can download these questions from the description of the YouTube video. So with this, now let us talk about another topic. It says more light, less sound. This topic is important. This is related to noise pollution. Okay, this is related to what? Noise pollution. Why we are talking about noise pollution? Because the season of Deepavali is coming, right? And during Deepavali, huge number of people use firecrackers, right? We use firecrackers. But the thing is, like, generally people use normal firecrackers, but there have been instances that people use those firecrackers that cause noise pollution. Okay, that cause what? Noise pollution. So through this article, the author has discussed about various levels of noise pollution. So they have talked about a measure which is known as dB. dB stands for decibel. Okay, it stands for decibel. It means the intensity of the noise, intensity of the sound, right? So dB is in logarithmic scale. Okay, it is in logarithmic scale. What do we mean by this? Means, like, if there is let's say, like, there is a increase of dB by 10, it means 10 times increase of it. Okay, so in this article they have discussed about a kind of act also that is in place, and this is known as the rules, Noise Pollution Regulation and Control Rules 2000. Okay, so this noise pollution and control rules talk about various types of noise pollution. The noise pollution, right, the noise pollution that happens in residential areas, right? Noise pollution that happens in residential areas, or the level that is allowed in residential areas. And they have talked about industrial areas, right? Noise pollution in industrial areas. And they have talked about noise pollution in where? In commercial areas. They have talked about what are the allowable limits in these areas related to noise pollution. Okay, so here through this article the author says, like, it is a festival of light, not a festival of sound. Although sound is let's say, like, noise is allowed to certain limit, but the thing is, like, beyond that limit people do have right to, let's say, like, report against it. And for that we do have Noise Pollution Regulation and Control Rules 2000, right? And the thing is, like, it also mandates that, like, state governments can designate certain silence zones. And silence zones means they have talked about the timing that beyond 10 p.m. in the night, right, no noise pollution should be generated. I mean, like, above a certain level. And after before 6 a.m. also it should not be done, right? After 6 a.m. and before 10 p.m. there can be some kind of noise, but that should be also under certain limits. So here they have mentioned about in industrial areas the noise cannot increase, it cannot exceed 75 dB, right? And in case of, let's say, commercial and residential areas, it is 65 dB and 55 dB respectively. So in this article they have mentioned about what is the allowable noise pollution during different time periods and in different areas, whether it is residential, commercial or industrial areas, right? Go through this article to understand about these figures. However, like, we have included a question also, right, on this topic. So now let us discuss about this. With reference to noise pollution, consider the following statements. So they have given 3 statements. One of the statements says, in industrial areas permissible limit is 75 dB for daytime and 70 dB at night time. This is right. In commercial areas the permissible limit is 65 dB for daytime and 55 dB for night. And a person is restricted from using sound emitting construction equipment during night time in residential areas and silence zones. All the 3 statements are right, right? All the 3 statements are right. This is just for your understanding about noise pollution. Okay, go through this explanation in your free time to understand little more. Now we have another topic. This topic is equally important. It says India, Bhutan to discuss new routes of regional connectivity. So why this topic is important? Because recently the the king of Bhutan, Bhutan is a constitutional monarchy. King of Bhutan has visited the state of Assam. He met with the chief minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, and he has come to Delhi. Yesterday he has met with the prime minister of India and the foreign minister of India, right, S. Jaishankar. So during their interaction, they have discussed about the routes of regional connectivity, the connectivity between India and Bhutan. So this showcases, let's say, deepening ties between India and Bhutan. So India and Bhutan are deepening their ties. And the thing is, like, earlier in 2007, India and Bhutan has signed the Friendship Treaty of 2007, India-Bhutan Friendship Treaty. So according to the India-Bhutan Friendship Treaty, these two countries will be friends with one another. They will cooperate in certain areas and they will not interfere into the internal affairs of their country. And just before this development, the foreign minister of Bhutan has visited China to meet with the deputy foreign minister of China, and they have discussed about what? They have discussed about resolving the border disputes. They have discussed about demarcating the border. For that, they have talked about three-step process, three-step roadmap. One of the step is like, like having an agreement on the table. Second thing is like, going to the field and seeing those demarcated areas. Third is like, demarcating the areas on the field. So they have a three-step roadmap between India and between Bhutan and China. But the visit of King of Bhutan showcases a good relationship that India shares with Bhutan. And Bhutan acts as a buffer state, right? It acts as a buffer state for India. Why? Because if I draw the, let's say, like, map of northeastern India. So this is the map of northeastern India. Over here we have Bhutan. Okay, over here what? We have Bhutan. So Bhutan acts as a buffer state for India. Why? Because this particular region is very important. This region is known as chicken snack, right? This is known as chicken snack. And over here we have, let's say, like, Siliguri corridor also. Siliguri corridor. So through the Siliguri corridor, let's say, mainland India gets access to Northeast India. Okay, so this is Northeast India. So mainland India gets access to Northeast India through the Siliguri corridor. So it is very important that we maintain Bhutan as a friend. It is in the interest of our security, right? Security and sovereignty of India, because, like, Chinese can have an aggression, because, like, India and China did have problems in one of the region over here. This is known as Doklam. Okay, it is known as Doklam Plateau or Doklam Tri-Junction. So this Doklam Tri-Junction is an area, right, that shares border with India, Bhutan and China. So we want to protect this particular region. So that's why this topic seems important, right, from the viewpoint of bilateral relations between India and Bhutan. Now we have another topic. This says free grains pose medium-term fiscal risk, can spur competitive populism. This topic is important. Recently, the Prime Minister of India has extended one of the existing program for 5 years, like for next 5 years. And this program is a scheme, and this scheme is going to provide 5 kg of ration, right, to the people. So the PM's extension of free food grain program by 5 years adds medium-term fiscal risk, right? So this was, let's say, a study was conducted by Nomura. Nomura's, Nomura is a kind of research and advocacy group related to, let's say, finance and other affairs. So they have recently said the Prime Minister of India has made an announcement that they are going to increase they are going to extend the free food grain scheme for 5 years. This free food grain scheme is not going to affect the fiscal status of the current year, but it is going to affect the fiscal status for the upcoming 5 years that's going to come. So here they have said that the Modi's announcement has effectively cemented this into a policy for medium term. The 5 kilogram free food grain scheme cost 2 lakh crore or 0.7% of the GDP annually, and the government would also be foregoing revenues which could amount to 0.5% of GDP. So they have said that it is not going to create any problems for the short term, right, for this year, but it's going to have some financial repercussion for the government in the medium term. So this is viewed like totally from the viewpoint of the balance sheet of the government. All right. So that's all. Thank you so much for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.